President Biden plans to spend $2 trillion to modernize American infrastructure. He debuted this plan about halfway through his first 100 days in office, and it is raising a big question. What actually qualifies as infrastructure? Highways, roads, and bridges are getting $115 billion under the plan, but they're not among the 5 most funded projects. At the top is $400 billion for the caretaking economy. Alexa Liacko looks at the connection between caretaking and infrastructure and asks, who stands to gain?
Keep the chest up. Where's your right arm? Pull it back.
Standing here in the cold, watching her son.
Ice skating is one of the things he's always enjoyed.
Is one of Carol Meredith's favorite places to be.
Alex is a wonderful man. He's 30, almost 37 years old, but he qualifies as having an intellectual and developmental disability, as well as autism and some mental health kinds of issues. So he requires 24/7 care.
With his caretaker PJ, Alex can go out and do the things he loves safely.
I did a good job skating.
You certainly did. You were wonderful.
Yes, I were wonderful.
We were doing it on our own for years, and it was exhausting and actually impossible.
This family sat on the Medicaid caretaker waiting list for almost 18 years. They couldn't afford the $100,000 a year cost for private care.
It was scary every day, literally. You were afraid every day that something bad was going to happen. It wasn't a good life for him or for any of us.
Even with Medicaid, it sometimes only provides care for an hour a day.
When we got off the waiting list and got the supports, it was doable. I mean, it's still a house of cards. It could fall apart at any moment.
That's why Carol fought to improve caregiver access in her state and eventually took a job with the ARC, a Colorado group that advocates for people with disabilities.
Good speed. Let's see snowplow stop.
And it's a bipartisan issue. Everybody has and knows somebody with an intellectual or developmental disability.
Carol has helped write legislation in Colorado to shorten the caregiver waiting list and improve caregiver wages. And now this nationwide problem is a huge part of President Biden's new infrastructure plan.
I think it's critically important because the long-term care system for everybody, that people who are aging like me, as well as people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, needs a good basic infrastructure upgrade. We don't have enough staff. Turnover's too high.
Biden's plan invests in roads, bridges, and broadband, but it also plans to invest $400 billion into raising wages for caregivers, getting families off caretaking waiting lists, and expanding services for the elderly and those with disabilities.
It's a big plan.
Attorney Ellen Jensby says more resources will help those with disabilities rely less on government services in the years ahead, eventually saving taxpayers money.
These services really are the linchpin for people with disabilities who otherwise and historically may have been segregated away from the community to live meaningful lives and participate fully the way that the rest of us do.
And it will give caregivers a career to support a family, something that could help Alex's caregiver PJ a lot.
I've been working for 20 months, but I haven't gotten a raise. You know, normally after 6 months or a year, you get, a raise.
But she says in the end, it isn't about money.
After 2 weeks of being with him, he told his mother he loved me and that he was happy.
An example of a bond
Be still for a minute.
that can only happen with the right help.
He's like a son to me. Good job, Alex.
For The Race, I'm Alexa Liacko.
More to come on The Race. Stick with us.